José Zito, we meet you here at the European Song Contest in Den Haag. Before we talk about you, we should talk about the pop scene in your country. Yes. I have been in Lisbon 1 week ago, and there was a meeting, and seen in the shops that there are a lot of American and English records. Does Portugal have an own pop scene?
Yes, we have our own pop scene. Sim, temos a nossa própria cena pop. No entanto, os grupos ingleses e americanos são, digamos, normalmente quem controla o top português. Como por exemplo os Supertramp, Police, Cheap Trick, todos esses grupos da nova onda, portanto, da New Wave. Portanto, todos os grupos da New Wave controlam hoje o top português, o que significa que a juventude portuguesa gosta muito do rock e que é uma juventude que não estagnou.
Well, we have in Portugal, José Cid says, our own pop panorama, and performers, from which one I can tell you that is the number one, but the Portuguese youth, they all prefer and they put up in the Portuguese charts all the groups like the Supertramp, Cheap Trick, and all the new wave. They are in this moment controlling the top places from the charts in Portugal, which means that the Portuguese youth is acquainted with what's happening abroad, and they are up to date. But their preferences, they really go to the foreign groups.
Mm-hmm. But you also have a typical own scene. Does it mean that influences from your culture, from the Portuguese culture, comes into your music? Or is there no of these influences in your music, in Portuguese music?
In my music?
Na minha music, in common pop music.
Não muito, nem por isso. Embora haja compositores em Portugal que, sem copiarem, conseguem criar um estilo próprio e que pode ter impacto internacional.
Não, mas ele está a perguntar qual é a influência mais da raiz folclórica na tua música.
Na minha música há muito pouca influência da raiz folclórica. Eu sou potencialmente um cantor que sempre tocou rock and roll, desde os primeiros tempos que comecei a tocar, nos anos 60, e que acompanhou toda a escola de rock and roll nos anos 60, 70, e portanto há muito pouca influência do folclore português ou das raízes folclóricas portuguesas na minha música.
He says that in his music the Portuguese roots from traditional Portuguese music they don't exist. He has been very much together with the rock movement from the 60s and the 70s, and his music is based upon the influence that he got from that rock music. He is a rock musician from his very beginning, and it's the line that he follows.
There was a little misunderstanding because at first I want to talk about the normal scene in Portugal, and then especially about him. You see, first I want to show the listeners what Portugal looks like, the music scene, and then I will talk about him especially.
You mean from pop music?
Yeah. But let's try the next question. The next question should be, Portugal is a small part on the left side of the Ebro Island. On the right side we have the huge Spain. Is there any influence coming from Spain over to Portugal, or is Portugal his own country with his own music, with his own culture?
Nós temos a nossa própria cultura, a nossa própria música, e somos muito pouco influenciados pela Espanha. Muito pouco influenciados pela Espanha. E aliás, eu devo-lhe dizer que os próprios grupos de rock and roll portugueses têm muito mais facilidade em tocar o verdadeiro rock do que os grupos espanhóis, especialmente porque nós falamos muito melhor inglês que os espanhóis.
José Cid says that really we're a country very individualized, in the middle of the huge Spain, with our own culture and our own music, because it has always been like that. And even it's much easier, let's say, for the Portuguese rock groups to play rock music. Even in that, they are individualized from the Spanish wave, because let's say that it's much easier for Portuguese people to speak English, and a better English, than for the Spanish, because of the strong Spanish accent.
Final question about this part is, living on the southest part of Europe means it's difficult to sell records, because if you're in the center of Europe, you can send it to England, to France, to Italy, to Spain, to the north, to Denmark. But you are on the southwest of Europe. Where is the market? Where can you sell records?
O meu mercado é fundamentalmente em Portugal. Eu tenho até hoje, aproximadamente em 8 anos de carreira, 1 milhão de discos vendidos ao todo, o que significa muitíssimo, e o recorde português de vendas, porque realmente nesta época nenhum cantor português até hoje vendeu 1 milhão de discos. Ao longo da carreira, normalmente os meus discos vendem entre 50 a 100 mil, o que é imenso para o mercado português, que é muito pequeno. Mas neste momento eu estou também já a trabalhar em França com uma empresa discográfica importante, que é a Vogue, e portanto penso alargar ainda a venda dos meus discos através da França.
José Cid says that, well, of course in Portugal, because we are so far away from everything, it's difficult to conquer the foreign market, but in principle most of his sales are done in Portugal. In 8 years of career he has been selling about 1 million records, which is really the best seller in Portugal, because no one has ever been selling as much as he does. For the moment he's very much worried with building international career. Some of his records are being released especially in France, but before he has been working with foreign artists. He has some hits that he didn't mention, but really there are 3 or 4 titles which have been very big hits all over Europe, like a song called 20 Years, and another one, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. They have been recorded in Lulu, the singer from England. They have been very big hits by other artists. So internationally, his career until now has been more as an author, as a composer, than as a performer. But now he's taking care from that, and he wants to build up a career as a performer abroad.
Okay, now we come to the personal view. Let's talk about José Cid. Who is José Cid? Could you explain with a few words, where do you come from? How did you get your music? That's what I know.
É muito simples. Eu vivo numa quinta no centro de Portugal, afastado de Lisboa, onde tenho o meu piano e onde toco 4 horas de piano por dia. Estou muito agarrado à terra. A terra para mim é muito importante. Adoro montar a cavalo. Aliás, eu sou um concursista bastante conhecido em Portugal em jumping. E para mim a música é uma forma de expressão não só do espírito como do corpo também.
Yes, José Cid is not a towny person. He doesn't like to live in town. He prefers to live out of town. He lives in his own farm in the center of Portugal, where he lives a very quiet life, except for his concerts, because he travels a lot all over the country to bring his music everywhere in Portugal. And he plays piano. He has his piano, and he plays 4 hours a day, and he sings and he composes his songs. He also likes very much horse riding. He has been in several jumpings competitions, where he also got a lot of prizes. And the land, the earth is very important for him. He has to be in contact with nature so that he can come out with his feelings, and the way of expressing himself is through his music.
Mm-hmm. But how did you get to music? What was your first contact with music? Just a moment, once more again.
Comecei a tocar rock and roll desde o tempo do Bill Haley. E acompanhei sempre toda a escola de rock and roll desde essa época. Pois.
Since the very beginning, from the rock movement all over the world, from the time of Bill Haley, Fats Domino, from that time he has begun playing and composing, and it's from that time that everything comes.
You just told me you try to start an international career as a singer, as a performer. Isn't it interesting for people living in Portugal and Portuguese selling their records to, for example, Brazil? I think Brazil is a very huge market. Is there no trying to do this? Not only by use of
Sim, mas o Brasil é um país muito fechado musicalmente. Como eu acho, por exemplo, a Inglaterra também é um país muito fechado. É muito difícil entrar no mercado brasileiro. No entanto, eu estou convencido que poderia fazer uma carreira bastante regular no Brasil.
Well, José Cid explains that he tries, of course, to make an international career. We should come to think that it's easy to make a career for a Portuguese singer in Brazil, but the fact is that Brazil, as well as England, let's say, they are very close markets, and it's most for the Portuguese immigrants in Brazil living there, that Portuguese singers are selling records, not for the Brazilian market, let's say, for the Brazilian people. They have their own music, musically they are very much developed, it's very characteristic, and really it's very difficult to conquer that market.
Okay. Well, I think this was enough for the first time. I thank you very much. Mattis, you came from Norway all the way directly to Den Haag for performing. Let's talk a little about your country. Let's talk a little bit about your country. Tell me, what is the pop scene in Norway like? Norway is in the north of Europe, very far away from Europe. Is there any pop scene in your country?
Vähäiskälle. Mutta ei ole lutautusta, mihin pop-musiikka narkkaa päällä. Ja vähän luohtii, mä tälle muun valtan. Ja Sverige on pitkä nokti rahkaa melodia. Sätteikään poppijuun luot.
It isn't so very well known there. And not the way of our pop music. And we, Sverige and we made the music together, and the music became popificated melody.
But not exactly this tune. I can imagine. Will you come over to me? Not exactly this tune. I would talk about the people in common in Norway. Which direction of music do they tend? Is this a folk music they like? Is this a pop music they like? What kind of music do the people like there? The young people.
Tämä liikkuu mun mielestä kun huijoluudella vanjamusiikki alkan albummusiikki.
Lately they have been listening very much to folk music.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is there many influence from other countries? Does there come music from England, from Germany, from France? Or do you make your own music, your own pop music?
Muhtuna rahkalit jäjas popmusiikka, mutta le huilu vahta vehki oppilande algoriiskas. Stora riiskein. No.
Some of them are making their own music, but most of the music is coming from the foreign countries.
Is there a market for you? Because if I am living in the center of Europe, for example Germany, for example France, it's easy for me to sell records in France, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain. But Norway is on the top of Europe. Where do you sell your records? You only can sell it in your country, or where else can you sell them?
Taas kerru pohtavuut juhmiehtaa Eurooppaa. Ja Norkka se täällä jo vuotimelan.
This record is going to be sold in the whole Europe, and they are selling it already in Norway.
In Norway? Yeah. The pop scene in Norway, is it an interesting scene, or is it influenced by folk music, or is it a progressive pop music like we have it, for example, in England?
Joo, Oululle. Tällä huijolu Engellä saa tuiska laakkea.
Tämä norkomusiikka. När shadda ambo vara daja musiikka laudat ambo den progressiv eller sånt att vähän gurupelde musiikka nugo Englannissa levar sen där många mosaikki.
Nata niin mun tiedä. Ei mun tiedä.
I don't know that.
But is there, you see, your pop music, is it your own pop music you make? Or is it any influence? Are you listening to Radio England? Are you listening to Radio Denmark? To Radio Germany?
Joo. Tällä Oulu pohtatien koulussa. Stora risk.
Yes, a lot of the music comes from the big countries.
Now let's talk about you. What are you doing and how did your career start?
Tälle vaattistatsikos. Mutta manjeltaan mun joikan mun alken tämmöistä muotia kaikki kun nalkaan. Mutta tälle äsken kun formation Norkas mun kan lämmas alle tautus kun lämmas TVS mieltä manki. Mutta täällä manje Grand Prix ja det halki.
Well, it's hard to say when the career started. I've been working in Norway for a while already, but well, they knew me quite well in Norway because I've been working there. But the international career is here in Grand Prix.
What I'm interested in, when I look at those pictures, for example, there's lots of snow, no big cities, only small villages and things like that. The youth there is living quite rural, a country life they have. You know what I mean? Yes. They have a country life. Are they influenced by pop music anyhow? Or is it all the same to them? You know what I mean?
Are you coming to the... Are you asking about Samis now? Or
No, just as a comment, not as a Samis Ednan. I'm just much more against the question. I'm interested if the youth is quite attracted in the north, quite attracted by pop music, or if they say, okay, it's new, we don't like it, and so on. Because in England, you see in London, everybody's running like a freak, like a punk or something like that. But I can imagine those young people do the same, or do they?
Tämmöisissä mi pohta mies, ta pohta jollaka vaimus, jolle rahkaluvun min ällimä mieltä.
Yeah.
The music which is made by us, the Samis, it comes directly from the heart, and it's made in connection with our livelihood.
I see. Then describe your livelihood. For example, is there radio? Is there TV? Is there all these things that young people in Europe normally have?
Joo, missä Norkka radio, ja Saame radio, mutta tässä nunnan saatiin aikia, että ei kuulu ärhäkään. No kun miehtää riiskaa kuulla, että ei kuulla 3 minuuttia päivää. Ja kuoktelukin jäljettiin mun jantorissa.
Talking about the Sami situation, of course we have the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation and Norwegian Television, but well, we have a Sami radio, but it's they have a very little sending time, and if you want to hear the Sami radio over the whole country, then it's just 3 minutes each day, except Sundays. Then on Sundays it's nothing.
In Lapland, in Samiland, are there a lot of pop groups and things like that we find in other countries?
Joo, tälle mutta saami koska siellä nuoluat. Ilän po oktamai mun tiedän. Mutta tämä hiejarahki poti melodiit.
Well, in the northern Norway there are a lot of pop groups, but there's just one Sami pop group, and they are making the melodies themselves.
Oh, yeah. And what are the typical themes people sing about?
Tälle muu nuko mun
Love or...
mun mielestä huijulu tällä huijulu luontuu perä ja maili hieja aina ja tiist tähilet nuulakkar I love you black.
They are singing very much about the environment and not the romantic I love you way.
Okay. And now you're taking part in this contest of Eurovision. You said before, your friend said, that the government is not quite content that this song was sent here. Explain me once more again why.
Näille nuo varavius ei liiskonut puudes tiessä, kun me pohdimme ja pääsemme muisteli teitä. Aashi perraa ja saami perraa ja voika huolei perraa.
It's perhaps like this because we got the opportunity to tell about the Sami situation, about the Alta River project case, and about the Sami's rights, that they didn't like it so very much.
Okay. That brings me to an interesting question. You see, in big countries, in long countries, we always have the problem that there are certain parts of the population that have their own will, their own music, their own culture. It's the same situation in Norway?
Joo.
Yeah? The big difference between the North Norway and the South Norway, or the East or the West Norway, however you want to tell it.
Tänne vaattis vastiis. Munin tuohta teillä mä ikään tätsitäs. Tällä on samalla numma herää risk.
What was it?
Well, it's hard to answer that question. Well, I think it's in almost the same way as in other countries.
Okay, I think this is what. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I wish you very much luck in 2 days. And maybe we'll see you in Norway. Thank you very much.
Joo.
Okay, and thank you too. Really good.